Hi everybody and welcome back. Now for this particular repeat pattern, which is our little block that has this leaf shape running down the centre where the top and the bottom line up, I want to print it onto this yellow cotton fabric, which is designed for homeware or upholstery sort of projects and things. It's a thick cotton in yellow. And this one, what I've done is I've marked out straight lines running down the centre of this particular piece. So it's a roughly 50-60 centimetre piece panel. I'm going to use it for a cushion. So I've just taken a ruler and some tailor's chalk and marked out some lines 8 centimetres apart so that I can line up my rows of block pattern repeat coming down these rows. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get started with inking and printing, and I have mixed up some just pale yellow, and it's quite an opaque yellow because I was thinking of just doing pure white on here, but I actually think just a touch of colour in it will just kind of work with the dark yellow, deep yellow background. So all I've done is taken some white fabric printing ink, add in a little bit of yellow to make it a very pale pastel-y yellow. The white has the benefit of being quite opaque, so it means it will stand out. If I just used yellow on its own or yellow mixed with an extender, it might be too transparent to sort of show. So I'm going to give this a go and see how it appears. So let's get rolling. And what I'll do with this is I will do maybe the first row or the first few blocks with you, and then I will speed up the video so that you can see the pattern being printed in sped up time basically. So I've rolled up my ink and I'm going to start, where shall I start? Let me start here, sort of in a middle one. I'm going to use my Baron to press down with some pressure. Hopefully you can see sort of all right. So it's quite a subtle colour. I didn't want it to be too stand out or bold. I wanted this to be a slightly more subtle pattern. I've already printed some very dark blue, like almost a denim colour, onto a white fabric, which again is a very big contrast, but I wanted something less contrasty and just a little bit more, subtle, I think is a better word. So I'm just lining this up. I've got some pencil marks running down the centre of the block behind here, and so I can line up this central mark with the line that I'm working on. I'm really quite enjoying this. It's quite subtle. I don't know how well this will translate on the actual video, but I'm sure you are able to see something. I promise I am printing something. The yellow is just that little bit lighter than the dark, I suppose it's almost like a dandelion colour yellow. It's not quite mustard, it's not quite ochre, it's just a real sunshiny yellow, and this pale yellow is like a pale pastel just off white. So it's a really lovely subtle contrast. Great, so I'm going to carry on printing this and I'll rejoin you at the end when I have done my printing. See you in a minute. So welcome back. Hopefully you saw how I created this pattern, which was by creating the lines and then working down them with this little block that repeated down along the lines. The great thing about this kind of design that doesn't touch the edges is that I can space them very close together, or I can space them far out depending on what final finished effect that I want. I could also stagger the rows. I could half drop this row because there is a wider part on this leaf here than this leaf here. I actually did them as a straight repeat, so they all lined up at the top, and I used a metal ruler just to guide me on making these ones up at the top roughly level so that everything is roughly level as it comes down. I'm not too obsessed with it being millimetre perfect, but you know, as long as it's roughly in line, that's kind of the effect I was going for in this particular one. But obviously I could have staggered it if I wanted to. I could have brought it closer together. And the guidelines were particularly helpful because once you've printed this block, you can't see the edge of it because it's just got this floating shape in the middle. So I wouldn't know where the edge of the square block is on this particular design. So the guidelines for me were quite important to be able to get my rows of leaf shape pattern coming down. And I'm enjoying the subtlety of the colour combination here. I generally like working with very bold colour combinations, you know, a very dark background and a light top, or a light background and very dark print on the top, but this is actually just a little bit more subtle, using 2 shades of yellow, so a more subtle colour combination. And it's good to experiment with these things. So for example, what I could do is grab a little tester piece of this fabric, try it in white, to try it in the lightest sort of colour or tone shade, and I could try it in a very dark colour, a very deep, either a black or a deep blue, and see how that works as a colour combination. It's completely up to you. This piece was just designed as a demonstration of a way to get a repeat from a tile. So I didn't have an end colour combination or finished design project in mind particularly. I just was playing with what I could get out of a square tile. So I'm quite pleased with this. I'm going to leave it to dry. It should take a good few days to a week to fully dry and the ink to get really sucked into the pigments, and then I can use it for something. So I hope that's helpful, and have a go with printing your own tile as well. Catch up soon.